We spend over 6 hours a day online, and almost none of it is memorable. One of my guilty pleasures are the Sunday morning talk shows. And every Sunday morning, while I'm watching the shows, my iPhone sends me a report that shows how much time per day I averaged on the phone. And to be honest, it's disappointing. On average, I spend 5 to 6 hours a day on my phone, and that doesn't include the 8 to 10 hours a day on my PC, and then some time at night on my iPad. We are constantly connected, and at the same time, the average professional receives more than 120 emails every single day. Most of them are skimmed, deleted, or ignored, not because they're bad, but because there's just too much coming at us. And then there's advertising. Research shows that we're exposed to hundreds of ads every day, yet we can only recall a handful of them. The rest fade into the background almost immediately. Then add social media and AI into the mix, and another challenge shows up. A lot of what we see online no longer feels personal, intentional, or even real. It feels automated, mass-produced, easy to ignore. So the real question becomes, with all of that noise, how do you actually stand out? How do you build real relationships? How do you create trust instead of just impressions? And here's what I've seen over and over again. The answer usually isn't sending more emails. It isn't louder ads. It isn't another digital touch point. It's doing something different, something that doesn't live on a screen. You need real-world interactions. A thoughtful real-world touch, especially when it's well-timed, creates a completely different response. A physical gift shows up in someone's hands, not in their inbox. It slows them down. It feels intentional. And for a moment, it cuts through everything else competing for their attention. What's interesting is that these kinds of gestures don't just feel better, they tend to perform better. They're remembered longer. They're talked about more. They often create a level of connection and return that far outweighs their cost and perform better than any digital campaign. In a world where almost everything is digital, being tangible is powerful. Emails are easier to send, but gifts are harder to ignore. Because when so much communication feels automated, thoughtfulness stands out. Forget about shooting for a 20% email open rate. When you send a physical gift, you get a 100% open rate. And when that gift is intentional and thoughtfully designed, the opening experience leaves a lasting impression. And that's where real relationships and real ROI are built. Sometimes the most impactful message isn't sent, it's delivered.